Hello everybody, and welcome back to One Nerd to Rule Them All. In today's video, we'll be talking about the story of Eärendil, the half-elven mariner who voyaged to Valinor, and his wife Elwing the White, parents of Elrond Half-Elven and Elros the first king of Numenor. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Eärendil was the half-elf son of Tuatha and Princess Eärendil, daughter of Turgon. He was born in 503 of the First Age and was raised in Gondolin. At the age of 7, he and his parents escaped the sack of Gondolin, living afterwards in Arvernien by the mouth of Sirion. The survivors of Gondolin and Doriath mingled at the havens of Sirion. In 525 of the First Age, Eärendil wedded Elwing, daughter of King Dior. 2 years later, their sons Elros and Elrond were born, and Eärendil began his voyage in search of Tuatha and Eärendil, who had earlier departed over the sea. With the aid of Círdan the shipwright, Eärendil built a ship for this purpose. It was called Vingalot. At this time, Elwing had in her possession the Silmaril that Beren had once wrested from Morgoth. News of this came to the remaining sons of Feanor, and they attacked the people living in Arvernien, slaying most of them. Círdan and Gil-galad sent ships to their aid, but were too late. But Elwing, to avoid capture, threw herself with Silmaril into the sea, leaving her young sons behind. Hearing of the tragedy of Arvernien, Eärendil then sought after Valinor, and he and Elwing found their way there at last. Eärendil thus became the first of all mortals to set foot in Valinor. Eärendil went there before the Valar, and asked them for aid with what would help men and elves in Middle-earth fight against Morgoth, and the Valar accepted his plea. Because Eärendil had undertaken the errand on behalf of men and elves, and not for his own sake, Manwë forbade the deal of the punishment of death that was due, and because both Eärendil and Elwing were descendants of a union of elves and men, Manwë granted to them and their sons the gift of choosing to which race they would be joined, a gift that would further pass down to their children. Elwing chose to be one of the elves. Eärendil would rather have been seen as one of the men. However, for the sake of his wife, he chose to be one of the elves. The Valar, having listened to Eärendil's plea, went with the mighty host of Middle-earth during the War of Wrath, overthrew Morgoth and bound him. Eärendil took part in the battle, riding on Vingalot besides Thorondor and the Eagles. It was his blow that slew Ancalagon the Black, the greatest of Morgoth's winged dragons, and his dead body fell on Thangodrim. The event which, along with the sheer devastation caused by the War of Wrath, led to the ruin of Beleriand. Eärendil's fate was to eternally traverse the great ocean with the Silmaril that Beren and Luthien had wrested from Morgoth, and guard the sun and moon. In the second prophecy of Mandos, it is told that Eärendil will return from the sky, for the love of the sun and moon that Melkor would blot out, and to fight in the Dagor Dagorath. Elwing, as well as her brothers, were born in a house near Lanithar Lamath, and living there until her father went to Doriath to assume his inheritance as its king. When the sons of Feanor attacked Doriath, all of her immediate family were either killed or lost, but those loyal to her family took Elwing as well as the Silmaril they sought and bore her away to the havens of Sirion. It was at the havens that Elwing met Eärendil and later married him. She bore his twin sons, Elrond and Elros. Elwing was forced to abandon her children when the sons of Feanor came for the Silmaril in Elwing's possession. Rather than give it over, she threw herself into the sea and was transformed into a great white bird by the Valar Ulmo. She flew continuously until she found her husband's sailing ship, the Vingalot. Then, on behalf of the elves and men of Middle-earth, they chose to sail to Valinor in the faint hope that they could make a final plea on behalf of those who suffered under Morgoth. When they arrived, Elwing chose to accompany her husband onto the shores, even though it might have meant her death. When Eärendil journeyed to visit the Valar, Elwing walked the shores, eventually meeting with Teleri of Aqualonde, her kin through her great-grandfather Thingol. There she told them of the tale of what had happened in Middle-earth and became much loved by them. Eärendil, out of respect for his wife, allowed her to choose for both of them. She chose to be counted among the elves in honour of her foremother, Luthien. A white tower was later built for Elwing where she could live. It was also said that the birds taught her their language, and that she would fly to meet Eärendil when he returned from his nightly voyages. This brings us to the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed this content, and if you did, then please leave a like and a comment down below on anything you would like to see me do in the future. Anyway, that'll be it from me. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. Bye for now.